There's something about being on vacation that makes people lose their minds. They forget that the laws of physics still apply, that wild animals are still wild, and that safety barriers are there for a reason.
There it is. Selfie king, selfie king, selfie. Ah! Ah!
These are not just tourists. They are Karens and Kevins on a world tour of stupidity. They travel thousands of miles to find the perfect spot, not for the view, but for the selfie. They ignore every warning sign, every local's advice, and every shred of common sense, all for a photo that will get them a few likes before it gets them killed. From the cliffs of Turkey to the volcanoes of Indonesia, these are the dumbest tourist deaths ever recorded. Case 1. Michael Jerson of Schultz. In the evening hours of February 2025, 77-year-old German tourist Michael Jerson of Schultz was on a solo motorcycle trip through the beautiful Valparai Tiger Reserve in India. He was riding his Royal Enfield along a narrow mountain road when he encountered a roadblock unlike any other, a wild elephant. For most, the dream is to see such a magnificent creature in its natural habitat. For the other drivers who had stopped at a safe distance, it was a moment of awe and patience. But for Michael, it was a challenge. He saw the warnings from locals and the line of stopped cars not as a sign of danger, but as an obstacle to his perfect photo. Ignoring all implicit and explicit warnings, Michael decided to get a closer look. He maneuvered his bike past the waiting cars and approached the elephant. He wanted that perfect close-up shot. The elephant, agitated by his approach, gave him a different kind of close-up. The animal charged. It gored him with its tusks and trampled him. By the time he was rushed to a nearby hospital, it was too late. He died from his severe injuries. The investigation by the Forest Department was simple. A tourist ignored clear warnings, approached a wild animal, and paid the ultimate price. It was a textbook case of tourist arrogance. The irony is that he was in a tiger reserve, yet it was an elephant that claimed his life. He traveled all the way to India to experience its natural beauty, but failed to respect its most basic rule. Wildlife is wild. His final photo attempt wasn't just a failure, it was a fatal one. Case 2. The bear selfie. In a picturesque mountain region of Europe, a tourist was hiking when they came across an irresistibly cute sight, a small bear cub, seemingly alone. In the age of social media, the first thought wasn't, "Where is its mother?" but "This will look great on Instagram." The dream was to capture a heartwarming, viral-worthy selfie with a baby bear. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated cuteness, and the tourist was determined to get as close as possible to frame the perfect shot. Ignoring posted signs that explicitly warned hikers not to approach wildlife, the tourist moved in, phone extended. They were so focused on the cub that they failed to notice the rustling in the nearby woods. The cub wasn't alone. The mother bear, seeing a human getting close to her baby, did what any mother bear would do. She charged. The tourist was mauled to death. The attack was swift, brutal, and entirely predictable. The aftermath served as another grim reminder for park rangers and news outlets to broadcast. Tourists and wildlife don't mix. The case became a go-to example of why you should never, ever get between a mother and her cub. The irony is sickeningly obvious. In the pursuit of a cute photo, the tourist found nature at its most savage. The selfie they wanted so badly was never taken, but their story became a gruesome and frankly dumb cautionary tale for anyone who thinks wildlife exists for their entertainment. Case 3. The volcano vlogger. In Indonesia, home to some of the world's most spectacular and dangerous active volcanoes, a Chinese tourist was visiting a popular site like Mount Ijen or Bromo. These places are famous for their otherworldly beauty, but also for their toxic gases and treacherous terrain. The dream was to capture the ultimate travel photo, a shot of them standing on the very edge of an active volcano crater. It was a picture that would scream adventure, danger, and daring, a perfect piece of content for their social media feed. Ignoring the designated safe viewing areas and the numerous warning signs, the tourist decided to climb to the rim of the crater for a better shot. Wearing inappropriate footwear like flip-flops on the loose, slippery volcanic rock, they carefully made their way to the edge. As they were posing for a photo or video, they lost their balance and fell. They tumbled tens of meters down into the active crater. The fall itself was likely fatal, but if not, the toxic sulfurous gases and extreme heat would have finished the job quickly. Recovery efforts were incredibly difficult and dangerous for the rescue teams. The unstable ground, steep walls, and poisonous fumes made the operation a nightmare. The tourist's body was eventually located, but their final foolish act had put others in danger as well. The irony is that they traveled to one of the most powerful and dangerous places on Earth and treated it like a photo studio. They wanted a picture of themselves on the edge of a natural wonder and ended up becoming a permanent part of it. It's a stark reminder that volcanoes are not just beautiful backdrops, they are deadly, and they don't care about your follower count. From a fatal elephant encounter to a deadly bear hug and a volcanic plunge, we've seen tourists who thought the rules of nature didn't apply to them. But what happens when the perfect photo spot is on the other side of a safety fence, right at the edge of a 100-foot cliff? Stick around, because after the break, we're heading to Turkey to meet a woman who celebrated her freedom from lockdown with one final fatal photo. Case 4. The Cliffside Instagrammer. Australia's coastline is famous for its stunning, dramatic cliffs. These spots are magnets for tourists and Instagrammers, but they are also notoriously dangerous, with crumbling edges and strong winds. The numerous warning signs and safety fences aren't just suggestions. They are there for a reason. For one tourist, the dream was to get that perfect, envy-inducing photo, the one that shows them communing with nature on the edge of the world. The safety fence was just an annoying obstacle in the way of their perfect shot. Ignoring the warnings, the tourist climbed over a fence and made their way onto a small, unstable ledge. The ground, eroded by wind and sea spray, was treacherous. As they were setting up their shot, the ground beneath them gave way. They slipped and fell 40 meters to the rocks below. Rescue services were called to the scene, but the fall was not survivable. They had to perform a difficult rope descent to retrieve the body. The aftermath was a familiar story for local authorities, who once again had to issue warnings about the dangers of so-called photo spots, with Instagram even implementing features to warn users about dangerous selfie locations. It's a constant battle between promoting tourism and preventing tragedy. The irony is that in their search for a unique photo, these tourists all end up with the same tragic ending. They want a picture that says, "I was here," but the only message they leave behind is, "I was an idiot." Case 5. Olesja Suspicina. On April 27, 2020, 31-year-old Olesja Suspicina from Kazakhstan was celebrating the end of a coronavirus lockdown in Antalya, Turkey. She and a friend went for a walk in the famous Duden Park, known for its beautiful waterfalls that cascade directly into the Mediterranean Sea. The dream was to capture a photo that symbolized her newfound freedom. She wanted a dramatic, beautiful picture to mark the occasion, a celebration of life after weeks of being cooped up indoors. To get the perfect shot, Olesja climbed over a safety fence and started posing for a picture on the edge of a cliff. As her friend was taking the photo, Olesja slipped on the wet grass, lost her balance, and fell 35 meters, about 115 feet, to her death. Her friend watched in horror, and her body was later recovered from the water by local authorities. The celebration of freedom had turned into a senseless tragedy. The irony is almost too cruel. She died celebrating her freedom from a lockdown designed to save lives, only to lose her life in a completely avoidable accident. She wanted a photo to remember her freedom, and instead, her final moment was captured on camera. Case 6. The Croatian Cliff Selfie. Croatia's Plitvice Lakes. National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, famous for its cascading waterfalls and turquoise lakes. It's a paradise for nature lovers and, unfortunately, for reckless tourists. A 20-year-old Canadian man was visiting the park, determined to get the perfect selfie. The dream was to get a photo that captured the breathtaking beauty of the park, with him at the center of it all. He wanted a picture that would stand out, one that showed him right on the edge of the action. Ignoring the clearly marked paths and warning signs, the man wandered off into a restricted area. He found a spot on the edge of a cliff overlooking one of the waterfalls. To get the perfect angle, he turned his back to the abyss and held out his phone. As he was framing the shot, he took a step back and stumbled, falling 50 meters, about 164 feet. Miraculously, he survived the fall, landing on a ledge below, but he was severely injured. Rescue services managed to reach him and transport him to a hospital. He was lucky to be alive. The Croatian Mountain Rescue Service later issued a statement on Twitter saying, "Dear tourists, we respect you. It's time for you to start respecting yourself. So, stop making stupid and dangerous selfies. Thank you." The irony is that even though he survived, he still became a poster child for tourist stupidity. He was so focused on getting the perfect photo that he completely ignored his surroundings. He didn't die, but he earned himself a permanent spot in the Hall of Shame for dumb tourist behavior. From a fatal fall on the Australian coast to a deadly celebration in Turkey and a near-death experience in Croatia, the quest for the perfect selfie is a dangerous one. But what happens when you climb a slippery rock in the middle of a waterfall and ask your friend to film you? Stay with us, because we're heading to India for a story that proves that sometimes the camera is the deadliest weapon of all. Case 7. Ajay Pandian. On August 4th, 2022, 26-year-old Ajay Pandian was visiting the Pulaveli waterfall near Kodaikanal, India, with his friends. It was a beautiful spot, and Ajay, a vlogger, saw it as the perfect backdrop for his next video. The dream was to create a viral clip. He wanted to show his followers a thrilling, daring video of him conquering the powerful waterfall. It was all about the content, the views, and the adrenaline rush. While his friends filmed, Ajay climbed onto a slippery rock right in the middle of the gushing waterfall. He asked his friend to get a good shot as he posed, with the water rushing past him. He was trying to move to a better position for the camera when he slipped. He fell into the water and was immediately swept away by the strong current. His friends watched in horror, the camera still rolling. His body was found several days later, about a week after he disappeared. The investigation was aided by the very video that led to his death. The footage showed his final reckless moments, a clear case of a stunt gone horribly wrong. The area was known to be dangerous, with at least 5 other people having died there in previous years. The irony is that his desire to capture a moment of daring on camera led directly to his death being captured on camera. He wanted to create a viral video, and he succeeded, but for all the wrong reasons. His final vlog was not a celebration of adventure, but a tragic and dumb record of his own demise. Case 8. The Transfăgurășeni Bears. The Transfăgurășeni Highway in Romania is one of the most famous driving roads in the world. It's also known for its population of brown bears, which have become increasingly bold, often approaching cars for food. In 2025, this dangerous habit, fueled by tourists, claimed another victim. The dream for many tourists is to get a close-up photo with a wild bear. They see the bears as a cute, furry tourist attraction, not as powerful predators. The sight of bears begging for food on the side of the road creates a false sense of security. In this specific case, a motorcyclist was attacked and killed by a bear after stopping to get a photo. He was part of a group that had stopped to watch the bears. Despite the obvious danger and the numerous warnings from authorities not to feed or approach the animals, he got too close. The exact details of the interaction are limited, but the outcome was fatal. The bear attacked and the man was killed. It was a direct result of the bears becoming habituated to humans and associating them with food. The aftermath was a renewed call from Romanian authorities for tourists to stop feeding the bears. The problem has become so severe that the government has considered culling the bear population to prevent further attacks. The tourists' desire for a cute photo is directly contributing to the deaths of both humans and bears. The irony is that the tourists who feed the bears think they are helping them, or at least getting a harmless photo. But in reality, they are signing the death warrant for both the animals and, potentially, for themselves or other tourists. It's a cycle of stupidity where everyone loses. From the mountains of India to the cliffs of Australia, these stories have one thing in common: a fatal combination of arrogance and a smartphone. These tourists traveled the world, but the only thing they discovered was the edge of their own stupidity. So the next time you're on vacation and you see a warning sign, remember these stories. The perfect selfie isn't worth your life. What's the dumbest thing you've ever seen a tourist do? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more tales of terminal stupidity, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Karen's Last Mistake. Until next time, travel safe and don't be a Karen.